Cool. All right, so welcome to our free talk on Tantric Qabalah. And my name's Kriyanna, and I basically have written this program, and I had the inspiration for combining Tantra and Qabalah. It seems like just so natural for me and effortless, because I actually was introduced to Western Hermetic mysticism, which universal Qabalah is held in that tradition, and the red left-hand path of Tantra at the same time. And so they developed together for me in my life and as part of my practice. And there were just moments, epiphany type moments, where I was realizing how effortlessly they went together and how well they went together. And then one research that we did discovered that there was a fellow named Abraham from the Bible, which you may have heard his name before. He was teaching Qabalah in his area and time. This is, several thousand years ago. And he taught Qabalah to all of his children, and some of them went to different places in the world. And these practices of Qabalah were shared and developed in different cultures and communities. And a lot of the Tantra that we know of today is very infused with Kabbalistic concepts. So I think Tantra in India was really influenced by Qabalah. Let's see. Some of my training, I became an initiate in the Western Hermetic lineage in 2006. And so I've been studying those practices in that lineage now for 11 years, studying, practicing, teaching, lots of different aspects. And I also learned left-hand path Tantra in the same year, as I said earlier. And my journey with those two practices was really different and like parallel paths, but not interwoven for a really long time. The Western Hermetic and the teachings of Qabalah tend to be very heady and esoteric. I don't know if you've ever tried to read any books on Qabalah, but they can be extremely full of big vocabulary and lots of magical treatises and lots of one of the main books that we use is called Mystical Qabalah by Dion Fortune. And Dion Fortune comes from the Golden Dawn, which is one of the 7 mystery schools in the Western Hermetic lineage. And there's a lot of authors that came out of that school, and Dion Fortune was one of them. And if you go to try to read that book, well, first of all, the language is, from a different era. And so it's like this old English that takes a little while to get used to, but then each paragraph is like digesting a big full meal. You have to read 1 or 2 paragraphs and kind of sit with it for a while, because it's just so rich and dense with information and philosophy. And then the tantric practice is very sensual and experiential and organic and spontaneous, which is I see them as a balance of a masculine and a feminine way of understanding the same material, where the Qabalah is very masculine, very structured and heady, and then the Tantra is very feminine and flowy and inspired in the moment. So they go really well together for that reason too, because we are seeking balance, especially right now in this culture, between the masculine and feminine energies so much within us and around us, and we really understand the importance of that in this time. So there's a really beautiful synergy just because of those two aspects alone. The Qabalah study that we do is called Universal Qabalah, which means that it doesn't follow any particular religious practice. It's not Jewish Qabalah. It's not any associated to any religion. It, in fact, goes with any spiritual practice at all, because it's basic concepts that are big universal truths for all humans, no matter where you come from or where you are in time and space. It applies. And you know, it's really interesting studying Kabbalah and also being a woman teaching Kabbalah, because it was for a very long time that you only could have access to Kabbalah at all if you were a Hasidic Jew and you were male and you were over 35 and you were married with children. That was the only access that you could have to Kabbalah. Women were not taught Kabbalah. And in addition to that, you would have to go to the rabbi and say to him, you know, I want to learn Kabbalah. And he would say, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Go away. Go away. You don't know what you're getting into. And you would, you know, if you really wanted it, you'd come back and say, okay, I really want to learn Kabbalah. And he'd give you a stack of books, you know, a dozen high, and say, okay, you want to learn Kabbalah, go read all these books and then come back. And then if you read all the books and came back, he would say, okay, I'll teach you. You kind of had to like prove it. And the reason is because these are deeply transformational processes that really work to activate and awaken your entire being and your entire life. And you need to have a level of stability in your life and in yourself to be able to handle the fire of transformation that these studies bring. And we incorporate that, creating that foundation in the practice that we go through as a group. So you have a community that you're experiencing this with. And I have a really exciting announcement actually about this particular journey that's beginning at the end of February. And it is that it will be available online for the first time. We're going to be offering it through this program that you're on right now, through Zoom meeting. And we'll have the computer set up with the group that's meeting live, and we'll be able to see you and interact with you, and you'll be able to see us and interact with us. And we'll record the sessions as well, so that if you're not able to make one particular session, you'll be able to go back to it and watch it anytime and ask questions later. And that's super exciting that that's going to be able to happen. Yeah, I'll get more into the details of that in a little while. But so here we are having access to Kabbalah, which is, you know, of course we do in this time, because we're living in a place and a time where we have access to everything right now. And the reason is because we're ready for it. We can handle it. And the world needs it. Mm-hmm. The world needs each of us to show up 100% with our empowerment, with our compassion, and with our wisdom as much as possible, so that we can bring humanity through this portal that we're all going through right now. And I know a lot of us are beginning to feel it, especially those who have been sleeping, now that we have a president here in the United States that is quite frightening to a lot of us. And I think it's a wonderful time to be alive, and that this president is going to, he's kind of poking us, you know, wake up, it's time to wake up. And so we get to do that, and we have these tools to be able to do this. So then the tantric piece is, like I was saying, you know, in the practice itself that I offer, we have the Kabbalistic teachings. There's, I'm going to grab this image so I can show you what the Tree of Life looks like. I'll be right back.
I'm finally on. I can see you all now. Hi. I figured it out. This is so cool.
Awesome. Okay, so here, this is the Tree of Life. Let me back up a little. And as you can see, there's an outline of a person's body inside the image, where you see all the pathways and the spheres, the circles. So this pattern, this geometrical pattern, actually lays on the human body. And each of those spheres and each of those pathways has very specific meaning. And it shows what we need to bring into balance within ourselves. And it shows the correlation and how all of the different aspects of ourselves are supported by each other, what their relationships are between each other. So I'll explain a little more. But before that, I'll just also share that if you look at this, there's 1, 2, 3. So this place, this would be like root chakra, second chakra in the lower belly, third chakra at the solar plexus. And these places where the chakra sits, but the sephira are flanking it, show the polarity of what needs to be balanced for this chakra to open and be balanced. Heart chakra, throat chakra. So these sit on the shoulders, flanking the throat. And this one is called the hidden sephira, da'at. We don't go into the sephira, we go over it. And then this is the third eye right here, and the crown. So it matches perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one is a hidden sephira. It doesn't sit in a chakra. That's 6 and 7 right here. So this is really an amazing map that has been given to us to help us learn about who we are as human beings. So each of these spheres have a plethora of correspondences to help us understand ourselves, as do the chakras also have correspondences. So this one here sits at the root chakra, and there are colors and animals and plants and minerals and angels and God beings and strengths and weaknesses, vices, virtues, many, many different things that are associated with each individual one. And I'll give you some examples. So this one's called Malkuth or Muladhara, depending upon it. So Malkuth is the Hebrew and Muladhara is the Sanskrit. That's the root chakra, or Taurus, as we call it. And what that one represents is grounding, ancestors, deep roots, physical senses, physical prosperity. Let me think here what some of the correspondences are. The colors of the sephira are russet, citrine, black, and olive, which represent the 4 elements. And in the chakra, it's red, represent very slow moving. Red is the slowest frequency of all the color spectrum. So it shows that it moves slower than anything else. And then you come up here into Yesod or Svadhisthana, the second chakra. And this is about dreams and intuition and everything that you've put into the womb of your creativity that's going to be birthed into the physical on earth. Things like that. We're only going to study the spheres and the chakras. We're not going to study the pathways because that's a whole other journey. It's enough really just to look at these. But I want to focus on these two right here, Geburah and Hesed, that flank the throat chakra, because a lot of people can really relate to what those two do. Oh, and I want to point out too, these 2 pillars here are the masculine and feminine energies. So this is the masculine energy, and this is the feminine energy. And this tree of life is a 3-dimensional structure, even though you're looking at it in a 2-dimensional form, so that you can see it in an artistic representation. But it's actually 3-dimensional and moving. And these 2 pillars are moving just like the Kundalini snakes. So this is just like Ida and Pingala, this Kundalini snakes that rise up through the central channel of your being, and they correlate to the DNA, which the DNA awakens as we study these practices. Is this all making sense so far? I'm gonna just pause and let anyone ask some questions that you might have. So let's go ahead and do that.
I have a question. You mentioned Sephora. What is that? Is that the name for the spheres?
Yeah, Sephira.
Sephira.
It's a Hebrew word that means like vortex or sphere of light. There's some different interpretations to it, but my interpretation basically is it's the same thing as a chakra.
Right. Okay.
And the chakras and the sephira move. They're toroidal fields. They're actually energetically activated in your physical being.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other questions?
I guess I just have a comment that I wanted to say that I didn't even realize, just like you were saying, that the two kind of coexisted separately before you united them. I've been studying Carolyn May since 2004, and one of the first books of hers that I read, called Energy Anatomy, has a section where she incorporates the tree of life with all the sephira and the divisions of male and female, and then she goes through that, and then she goes through the 7 chakra system, and then she basically kind of like puts them both together in like big world concept. Like, if you could take this in broad spectrum and across the universe, what's the universal truth for this area of the human biological field? Yeah. So I'm just saying, goosebumps over here. It's the reaffirmation that I'm on the right path. Thank you, love.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So I want to talk about Geburah and Hesed that sit flanking the shoulders and the throat chakra. So Geburah sits on the feminine side, and in the Qabalah, feminine is on the right and masculine is on the left, which I actually really appreciate. In Tantra, feminine's on the left and masculine is on the right. And I appreciate the reversal because it shows movement. There isn't like a set way that the masculine and feminine energies sit in our beings. They're moving back and forth. So I really like that because it demonstrates it really well. So we have Geburah on our right shoulder and Hesed on our left shoulder. And these, the big energies that each of them represent are severity and mercy. And we have to have these two energies in balance. So this is where I get to talk about how they relate a little bit. And we're going to go through on the journey how all of them relate to each other and support each other. So severity, if you're too severe and you're bringing the sword out and doing way too much pruning, you're going to cut away those things that you want and need, that support system in your life. You're going to burn bridges. You're going to not have very many friends. You're going to feel like have a meanness to you that is a sword that's just too sharp and being wielded too easily. On the other hand, if you're very compassionate and you have too much compassion and you never bring out the sword, then you feel like a doormat and like people are taking advantage of you. You're giving away too much. You're giving away things that you need for yourself, and you become resentful of other people and you feel you're a martyr. You're martyring yourself. So having a healthy balance of both of these is crucial, and the way that they're expressed is through the voice. The tongue, I'm sure that you've heard the reference to the tongue being like a sword. Mm. So also, we can use the tongue to build and we can use our tongue to destroy, depending upon how we react and respond to people in our environment and the words that we choose to use in any given moment. What is appropriate? Do I need to speak this truth and cut away something that is not serving? Or do I need to grow it and nourish it and help it to flourish? And even that pruning is this act of nourishing and compassion. They have to be in balance. And I know that most of us can understand that. It's very interesting because the color of severity on the tree of life is red, And the color of compassion is blue. And when you combine red and blue together, you get purple. And the color of the sephira on the tree that is purple is in the womb chakra, the second chakra, Yesod. So when these things are in balance of compassion and severity, you're creating things in your womb, your second chakra, to be birthed on the planet that are in balance. And if we're having a different physical experience than that balance, then we have to look way up here at the shoulders and what's happening up here, because all the energy is coming down like this from source and ends up in the womb to be birthed into the physical. The physical is last. Does this make sense? And please, if you have any questions or comments, please share.
So I have a question. How do the Qabalah and Hesed relate to the Ida and Pingala? You're saying they're kind of the same idea?
No. So Ida and Pingala, or Yakin and Boaz, whichever terms you use, they are the masculine and feminine energies.
Okay.
Qabalah sits on the feminine side because the feminine holds the chalice, the container. She holds the edge. That's why it's severity, because she's holding that edge, and everything that you want inside the chalice is in, and everything outside is out.
Oh.
That's like the purity of what's in the womb, right? The mother does that. Where the masculine side is compassion, he gets to be like it's the symbol of the being that sits in Hesed is the benevolent king. He has the power to grant boons and to be very generous. And his energy is very expansive and all-encompassing because, if you think about the biology of the masculine and feminine, it really helps to understand it.
It's very different than,
but it makes sense, right?
Balanced. I like it.
So one thing that happens when you study different spiritual practices, you might think, oh, these things are opposing each other. These ideas are opposing each other. But if you really get down to the roots of what's being shared and get past whatever language or specifics, everyone's saying the same thing ultimately.
Yes.
As long as it's true, you'll hear it again and again and again in every practice. So these spheres, they just sit on the masculine and feminine pillars, but they don't make up the entire energy of masculine and feminine. There are other aspects that are included in the entirety of the tree and the chakra systems.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
Is that basically where the kind of, I'm sure it was interpreted from one perspective or another, but where the, angel and devil on your shoulder.
Yes, precisely. Yeah. The devil is the severe one that's, or the angel actually.
Angel's the severe one.
No, don't do that. And the devil's going, oh yeah, do it. Go for it. Right. But
Oh my God.
It's up to you to have discernment and to find that middle way and that balance. And discernment is found actually in Malkuth and the root chakra. That's where we have discernment.
And the angel would be on the right side because it corresponds with the feminine of the cup and the sword. Is that right?
I don't know. You can probably argue it both ways.
Got it. Starting to come together.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I guess I just had one little comment to throw in here, and you popped it into my head just now when you were saying how you will find universal truth will be found. It will present itself in every aspect, face, possible place that you could uncover light. It will show up, and it is a matching grant that you will be given the truth when you are ready to receive. So it just goes to show that we are ready to hear this. And I'm wow.
Yeah.
I'm listening again now.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so what the journey looks like is the whole thing. If you're able to be here in the physical, we begin the journey with a weekend initiation. And traditionally, that's not a part of Kabbalah, but it is part of entering into the Western Hermetic tradition. So those who will only be able to attend online will not be a part of that initiation. The initiation is supportive, tremendously supportive for the journey, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do it to gain the teachings from Tantric Qabalah. So we kick the journey off at the end of February, and if you are able to come to any part of it in the physical, I would highly recommend coming to Portland for that weekend of February 24th to receive the initiation. And then everyone who's there at that initiation, we will get out our calendars and we'll hash out the dates for the entire journey of 9 months. We'll meet once a month for a full day where we go really deep into the teachings, the Kabbalistic teachings of the Sephirah that we're in. We're going to do 7 chakras. So some of them will have 2 Sephirah in a chakra, and some of them will have 1 Sephirah in a chakra. And it's a really great way to see the relationships of the polarity between the Sephirah when they're working together like that. So we'll spend a full day exploring and discovering the Sephirah that we're in on that particular month and the chakra that we're in. There's esoteric teachings so that your brain has something to do. And there's also experiences because we're calling in the energy of those particular frequencies. We're not just talking about them, we're being with them. We are invoking them. We are activating them within our life. And we're ascending up the tree as a group. So during that entire month that we're in those particular frequencies, all of the things that are in balance and that are your strengths during that time will reveal themselves. Those things that need to be brought into balance will reveal themselves, and you'll be given a bunch of tools to work with to help you process whatever comes up during that month. And in addition, you'll have a whole group of people that you'll be doing this with, and you'll have access to having communication with them and working with them. And you'll specifically have 1 or 2 or 3 accountability partners that you check in with every week to talk about your experiences and support each other with whatever is happening on the journey for you. I also love to send people out on adventures, like there's a lot of things in life that associate to these energies. And I'll say, say we're in the 2nd chakra, 2nd Sephirah of Yesod, the energies are it's dreams and related to the moon. If I didn't say this already, there's planets associated with every single one of these. And I might have you go out, it's very watery and fluid. I might have you go out at nighttime and sit by the river under the moon and do a meditation or something like that. Or go into a float tank, a sensory deprivation tank during that time, things like that are gonna invoke those energies into your life and also push your boundaries, because that's the point of this. It's not meant to be comfortable the whole time. If you're comfortable the whole time, then you're missing out. So the more you put into the journey and the more you activate the energies within yourself, that's your responsibility, the more the journey will do for you. So there's a lot of ways that you can interact. You can read books, you can do the adventures, you can work with a specific correspondence. Like some people this last journey worked with crystals, 1 for each of the Sephirah, and went really deep into how that crystal relates and supports those particular energies. Other people worked with archangels. Other people worked with the tarot deck, because the tarot deck is absolutely associated. Everything in life is associated to these processes. And then, so we'll meet once a month. You'll go through the experience of having those energies activated in your life and have the opportunity to transmute a lot. And then once we get to the throat chakra, that sephira that I was talking about, that's the hidden sephira that we don't go into, that we go over. This sephira is called da'at, and it's basically the space in between the physical and the non-physical. It's really, really hard to connect with those energies that are beyond this physical existence, because we are so anchored in physical bodies that we don't really know what else is beyond this. And that's why so many people are afraid of death. And da'at means death, actually. And it's a gateway that helps us travel into those much more expansive energies that bring us into unity consciousness. And there are all kinds of things that we do to keep ourselves, because we all want to go home. We all want to remember what it feels like to be one again. We don't like being separated and individuated. It's painful, actually. And there's all kinds of addictions and distractions and things that we do that really keep us from connecting with the unity that is available to us all the time. So basically, there's an abyss right here that keeps us from connecting. And in that abyss is everything that distracts you. All of the habits that you have that keep you from remembering who you truly are as an eternal, infinite being, and all of those traps. And we build a bridge that goes from the physical into the upper supernals, into connecting with infinite consciousness. And it is an amazing experience. We go on a retreat during that time for the weekend, and we take each other into the realms of unity consciousness. And the more you can surrender and open and allow yourself to be held, the more astounding the experience gets to be. We, this last year, I led a group of 18 people on this journey, and the experience that we had was, you know, a lot of us have experimented with entheogens and psychedelics these days. And we get this feeling like we're one with everything sometimes. And it's easy to get there. It's easy to remember what it's like to feel connected to everything and connected to your superpowers when you're on these substances. But the truth is that we don't actually need them at all. We can do them on our own, because we have the ability to do that, and we're made to do that. It is in our DNA. It is in the makeup of who we are to be able to connect and remember. And so going through a process like this helps you to do it 100% on your own without the aid of anything else. And it is extraordinarily empowering to know that you can do that, and that you don't need anything except your breath and your mind and your body and your being to be open and in this beautiful state of surrender and empowerment. And that's where we take this together as a group. It is absolutely life transforming. And it's hard to describe in words even. The words that I'm saying are falling short of the experience. So we go through this retreat experience together as a group, and we get into unity consciousness. And then we have practices that we can return to again and again and again to help us remain and stay in that place of our beautiful connected divinity as much as possible for as long as possible. Now, I want to share that this is something that you'll want to do again and again and again, because you're going to peel one layer off the first time, and then the second time you're going to peel another layer off, and the third time another layer off. But once you have the material, you can do it as many times as you want on your own, or leading your own group of people to go through it together. You know, that's what this is for. And I've been through it. I think this next journey that's starting in February will be my 10th time up the tree of life, and I'm still learning from it, but I feel fucking fantastic because I have been doing this again and again and again, and it works. These practices have literally saved my life from despair. I grew up in a super dysfunctional, messed up family, and I was very confused, and I was creating all kinds of really twisted, dramatic, messed up realities, and I had no idea how to get out of it. And these tools that I'm sharing them because they helped me save my life from that. And I know they work, and I love sharing them with other people because of that. I know what it can do for a person if you really apply yourself and you really do the work. All right, so any more questions or comments?
Question. So you said the first weekend is in person, and then once a month you'll meet, but is that online or is that in person, the once a month?
So if you can come to the first weekend,
Right.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Okay.
If you can come to the first weekend, it is only in person. If you cannot come to the first weekend, you still can join the journey, but it will be after that first weekend.
And then it's going to be the 1 day per month is going to be online?
Yeah, it'll be
Yes?
online. Yep,
Okay.
it'll be recorded. So if you can't make the actual live session, you can watch it anytime. Yeah.
How being that I'm in LA, how set back would I be if I weren't able to make that first weekend?
Yeah, it's not a setback. It's a process that helps support the journey, but it's not necessary. You absolutely can do it and get a tremendous amount out of it by not coming to that first weekend. Yeah, if it were different, I wouldn't even offer it that way.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it a separate retreat that you're talking about, taking, like you said last time you took 18 people out?
The retreat is part of the journey, and that happens the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. The 7th month in the journey is the retreat. Instead of the 1 day regular meeting, we do the retreat instead. And that would be another really good time to show up in person. But if you can't show up in person, we'll include you in the processes at the retreat as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other comment that I had was, I mentioned earlier that I was reading that book on Tantra, and it was funny because one of the first couple pages, it was saying that that experience of connecting into the unity consciousness is something that can be experienced but can't, like, it was funny that you were saying that words just fall short, and that it's an experience, but it's not something that can be explained.
Yeah, it can't be explained. That's absolutely right.
Just like words aren't the experience, so they're just not enough.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Any other questions or comments?
I'm looking forward to it beginning.
Yeah.
I have another question. If we wanted to learn more about the Sephiras, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And the Kabbalic structure, like, how would you have any references or place to direct us? Like, if we just wanted to read a little bit on our own too?
Yeah, absolutely. The book that I have gotten the most out of is Mystical Qabalah by Dion Fortune. Also, there's a few other authors that I would recommend anything that they've written. Will Parfit.
Okay.
And Israel Regardie, Regardie.
Can you post those?
Yeah, that would be great.
Authors someplace where we have reference to them, Kriyanna?
Yeah, looks like there's a chat box here. I'll write it all down for you.
And that'll show
Okay,
up on the Facebook page, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
The event page. And also, could you post that picture? Because the picture of the Sephiras, and
Yeah,
it'd be great to look at that a little more. Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
I don't know if I'm spelling these names right.
That's what Google's for.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here, and I'm available if any questions come up. You can always send me a private message, and I really look forward to seeing any of you that feel called to join us on the journey this time. In the physical, we only have a few seats left. My cap is 20. So if you're thinking about it and you want to join us, please send me a private message right away. There's no cap on the online. Anyone can join.
Yay.
So yeah, thank you. I honor you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Kriyanna.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Sparkles.
Sparkles. Blessings.
Thank you, Cree.
Thanks.
Thank you.